and Joe sit down to chat. New ideas spark, they can't be that. Podcast fun, fury so grand. Laughter flows, no need for a band. From life stories to wild speculations, each episode brings joy, makes you relaxations. Glaziar Gamble, we're off to explore. Laugh and learn, our show is forever. Incredible theories, side by side. Joyful moments.
Welcome, everybody. This is the Glaziar Gamble podcast.
Let's take it from the top.
Wasn't me. Welcome, everybody. This is the Glaziar Gamble podcast. Back at you with the Daredevil finale. There was some of the goriest scenes for MCU fans, probably, which was awesome. But if you watched the show and it was on Netflix, you were used to it. But yeah, we're going to be talking about the finale
if you've
today.
Seen Punisher, especially if you've seen Punisher.
Yeah, the glass scene I've seen make its way around. Yeah. But anyway, finale came and went, and season 2 is underway. You know, we don't know exactly when it's coming out, I believe, but obviously Daredevil ended, and then Marvel decides, well, Daredevil's over. Let's release all the trailers and teasers we have. Right. So Thunderbolts got one, Fantastic Four got one
today as we're filming.
Yeah. So, you know, Marvel's like, all right, Daredevil's done. Let's see what else we can do. Just let's not let anybody cool off at all. We're just going to go straight from Daredevil into this.
Let's not let them talk about the Superman spot they did. Let's have them talk about us.
Exactly. I think that's 100% part of the... Because, I mean, I could see them of doing the Thunderbolts now and then waiting for Fantastic Four for like a week. Right. But the fact that they threw it all in at once, it was like, let's overload you.
You're due for one, too. I mean, you were due for Fantastic Four, too. I mean, that comes out of what, like 3 months? Usually you get one like 6 months prior and then 3 months and then like one final one. Yeah, so.
Yeah.
About tracks for them. But.
Yeah. But anyway, Daredevil finale came out. We're obviously excited about those teasers and trailers, but the thing that's sticking with us is kind of the Daredevil finale, I would say. I think the end of it was not what I expected. I expected a little bit more expectations into season 2. I think
you get a lot of them.
You think so?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, like
Tell me what you think then. Yeah,
the Heather thing is a twist. And you don't necessarily know if
what
it's
do you
good
think
or
they're
bad.
just gonna break up or what?
I don't know. I feel like she has like we've talked about in like one of the previous episodes, like if Matt wants that relationship with Heather to continue, then he's gonna have to tell her. Like there's no way to like
she seems completely out on him. Like She didn't even she gave him a kiss on the cheek goodbye, you know, in the hospital, and that was kind of like the last thing we've seen. But she's yet to. There's been like 3 episodes since she's smiled, which I get it. She was a victim of an attack, but she's also like going out of her way to be against Matt.
And before like the Fisks, I guess, yeah.
Yeah, it's very strange to me how much it flipped in that scenario, but. Yeah, I guess that's something that they did give us.
So you got the Heather thing, the vigilante thing, which is what we kind of talked about a little bit throughout this. It came to fruition too.
Banning vigilantes.
Banning vigilantes, which is what we talked about prior.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the thing though, like I think it would be cool to see him use some. I guess. Like, it would be cool to see him. He's probably not going to get Bullseye because Bullseye hates them. But, like, Scorpion. Yeah, I know a lot of people were talking about Scorpion. Possibly Mac Gargan.
Maybe potentially offering vigilantes to either work for the government or be arrested. Like that sort of thing? Or do you think they would do it more under the cover? I mean,
there's got to be some vigilantes he has wrapped up, right? I mean, you saw it. You saw the Punisher, who's probably out. I mean, like he's probably in that compound still.
See, but the last thing we saw with Punisher was
some
murdering
idiot
a guy.
trust me, yeah. So yeah, come shake the Punisher's hand. That seems normal through a cage door.
Right, like he might have been in a cage, but they're making it seem like he's gonna get his way out with that.
Oh yeah, I think he could too. I mean, he could pull that whole guy through the freaking that little slot. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, yeah. But then, like, what happens then? Because like, does he free all the other vigilantes that are in there, like Swordsmith or Swordmaster or whatever it is?
I was completely
Swordsman?
shocked by one thing in this episode, like absolutely flabbergasted.
Flabbergust.
I was,
Your gust was flabbed?
my gust was flabbed. I was flipping all over the gast. It was insane.
Okay.
Was his campaign manager being on his side and turning in the chief of police.
Oh, Sheila.
Sheila flipping and like admitting that she will pick Fisk over.
They did a really good job of that tone changing. for her.
Yeah, that was like I was
throughout
like,
this, 'cause-
excuse me,
Yeah, 'cause
excuse
you
you.
were always on, like, knew she was kind of on the fence. Like she was like she didn't necessarily trust Fisk's ways, and is very by the book.
Right.
But then Fisk basically like gave her an open threat. Was like, either you're with me or against me, and so you need to pick your decision. And so she fortunately did that right before going to meet the chief of police and have that meeting that she probably already had cooked up. And then being like, I did this, like, who's more powerful, the mayor of New York or the chief of police that's trying to flee? Like, so no, I mean, she did the right thing for herself. And she did the right thing for herself, and like it's curious to see like where it goes going forward with her.
That was
Because,
100%
like,
self-preservation because the right thing to do would have been working with the chief.
right.
But yeah, completely saved herself in the sacrifice of the entire city of New York to a dictator.
Right. But no, I thought that did a really good. Well, she did a really good job of showing her like her realization that she's not a campaign manager. Really, she's like, it's more than that.
Right. She's basically the one keeping Kingpin looking sane to the public.
Right.
Like her job is to make him look like a normal mayor, knowing what he's doing behind the scenes.
Right. And Buck is the one that, and like I still think that Vanessa is kind of like the queen pin, right? Like she's gonna be able to kind of do most of her things or most of their things now, and have it be kind of a joint operation. Buck is there to clean up loose ends and kind of be the missing piece, and then Daniel's like this little not puppet. Puppet's not a good word, but like
bitch boy. That's what I've been saying.
A mini Kingpin, like basically like, hey, like I'm gonna go around and like I'm gonna tell you how it is. Like I'm gonna do these little threatening things because I work for the Kingpin, and
even
like,
his body language.
Yeah, that's changed from the beginning too. So
now he's
like,
got like the open vest coat, showing his suspenders, putting his like thumb in his waist. Like that's all completely different from the hands in pockets, buttoned up vest that we saw in the beginning.
Right, let me shake your hand. I'm so excited to meet you. Like that kind of
like
thing.
groveling.
Like, yeah. They've done a good job with all those characters,
for
man.
sure.
Like Kingpin's cabinet is pretty dope. I mean, it's
and I know a lot of people might be like, "Oh, it's such an exaggeration," but there was a point in which I like got chills, which was the line of Kingpin didn't try to kill you. He tried to kill Daredevil. He tried to kill Matt Murdock.
Sure.
And I was like, that is like something. It's obvious. Like that's exactly what he did. So they're just like pointing out a thing that's obvious, but it still was like this. Like Wilson Fisk, the
when Buck showed
mayor,
up to the hospital and was trying to put
Matt,
like down and be like, oh, he died to his gunshots.
But instead of Kingpin trying to kill Daredevil, it was Mayor Wilson Fisk trying to kill lawyer Matt Murdock.
Right.
It was it adds a new aspect to how you view each character, like they've done with every other character,
Sure.
where you're like, oh no, they're both fully going one way now.
Right.
Like Matt has no home anymore,
Yeah.
so he can just be full-time Daredevil.
Right. He basically has to live as a vigilante, or else like show his face to the public again and be like, he'd have to take another vigilante case, but now vigilantes are banned. So like,
And they have a bunch of dead cops at his place with a crooked system.
right.
So even if he did show his face, they'd be like, oh, Matt Murdock, murderous lawyer on the run.
Right. Yeah.
So I feel like he's going to be kind of just forced to live out as Daredevil. Fisk is going to be Mayor Kingpin instead of Mayor Fisk now.
Yeah.
He murdered
And he's kind of has to leave. He has to kind of live in hiding, like with the help of Karen, essentially. And they know that Punisher's at that compound. They know that Punisher's there, and so they need to. I assume they know Punisher's there. I
Instead
guess
of Kingpin doing all of his business in the shadows, he's out in the open. Now Matt has to be the one that's hiding around, like what Kingpin was doing. They've just kind of flipped there. I did see one of the complaints about this episode was like he basically was assembling a team to help him, and the team they got was Karen, 2 cops,
all those
and a
cops,
bartender.
Cherry. Yeah. That's not the that's not his team. I mean, that's just
I just
all
took
those
that as
people
those were people that are on his side.
yeah, those are people that stood behind him, that stand behind Daredevil.
Right.
Like,
They brought in Punisher, reviving not 1 series but 2 for this.
Sure.
Brought Punisher in as a focal point for the finale, and people don't think that season 2 would have a bigger cameo or addition than...
We know Jessica Jones is going to be there, so it's like...
I see the one a lot of people were saying today was Luke Cage is the one that most people are looking for, which I think is interesting. I would have expected Jessica Jones to be the fan favorite, but all I've seen today was that realistically people want Luke Cage. The dream would be that they get Spider-Man.
Yeah, I don't think he'll get
And I was
that.
like,
But,
absolutely unrealistic, but
no,
I get the vision.
I mean, you're thinking the Defenders.
It's got to be the Defenders.
All the Defenders. You're thinking all the Defenders. You're thinking Punisher.
God, I would love Shang-Chi in this.
Yeah, like
so much.
street level.
Like, yeah, imagine Shang-Chi and Daredevil fighting in a one-shot sequence.
Or Iron Fist. Iron Fist.
You get Iron Fist,
kind
Daredevil, somebody who's like acrobatic. Then you have Daredevil in his own style, and then you have Punisher, like all 3 in one shot, side by side, and you see how different each one fights.
Yeah, and you got Bullseye coming in more than I mean, you've seen some of those like set photos.
He better get a fucking costume. I know that's ridiculous, but he needs his blue with hiding his face and with the dot on the forehead.
Yeah, with the crosshair or whatever. Yeah, and I think it's gonna look a little different than like the comic one, which looks kind of cheesy, but like they've upgraded costumes from then on. So yeah, I mean, you got to think the Defenders, and if you get Jessica Jones, you got to think Luke Cage, and if you get Luke Cage, you got to think Danny Rand. Like it just kind of makes sense. I don't know, Echo. Maybe if you type that, I don't know how she would like join them though.
With the addition that the change that they made to that character, giving Echo like genuine powers from her ancestry, I feel like she's not going to be brought into this because they're going to avoid most fantastical elements like that.
Sure. Outside of like the Iron Fist, which kind of like
right.
It's not mystical, but it's like
which is why they wouldn't bring in Shang-Chi because he's got those rings.
Right. And like Iron Fist isn't necessarily like mystical, like unless they want to do like where you like see the dragon with his punches or something like that. But like
that's why it'll be Luke Cage or Jessica Jones, because otherwise you're adding too much super to this show that very clearly wanted to be a drama show with superhero elements.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you just bring in like a Jessica Jones and then you hint at Luke Cage, or you hint at like, oh, he's watching the kid or something like that, and then if you hint at that, then you can, I mean, if it's still successful, like which it will be, like you bring in all of them. you bring in the heroes for hire, and you've got them both. So it's like, yeah, I don't know, like little pieces. But I don't think Jessica Jones and Daredevil and Punisher could get out of that compound. So
You don't
would
think
need
so?
someone that is
Even with Jessica's strength?
yeah, but you would need Luke Cage. You would need the bulletproof Luke
Yeah,
Cage.
I mean he would be
like,
like the X factor, but I do think
Yeah.
Punisher, Daredevil, and Jessica Jones would need to be more precise, which would probably make a more entertaining exit. Because Luke
I
Cage
think,
kind of removes the fear.
Yeah, and yeah. I mean like Punisher's tactics. You would almost like that place was loaded with people. Like there was probably 1,000 people there.
Not to mention other
So-
prisoners that they could release for help.
Right. And are all of them going to have Punisher's way to get out? Like Punisher's mindset,
Right.
which you would need Punisher's mindset to probably get out of that. So
Yeah, because you're going to be killing a ton of police to get out of there.
yeah.
So you got to
So
have people that
it's
are
like
okay
a big
killing
yikes.
police.
Yeah, it's like a big yikes. So yeah, I don't know. Bullseye for sure would. So if Bullseye's in the mix, like Bullseye and Punisher could probably take that place out, to be honest.
Right. Season 2 needs to be a transition into comic book Bullseye, I think.
You have to you can't go overboard with it, and I think that's going to be the struggle. Like, I mean, you have the 3 characters from this season, which would be like Daredevil, Bullseye, and Punisher. You know, those guys are probably going to come back from like the hero standpoint, if you want to call Bullseye a hero, like not a hero, but like he's probably going to be helping Matt at some point.
Do you think he'd help Matt against Fisk?
Yeah, 100%. I think
Considering he was trying to kill
Daredevil
Fisk anyway.
can't. I don't think Daredevil can get into that compound without someone like a Bullseye, I guess. Because like, I just thought of this like randomly. Like, what say you need key cards, right? If Bullseye gets a key card, he could unlock a door from a mile away. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. Just hypothetically, that's the situation. And then you got to like ease it up. Like if you're gonna take those 3 characters and add a Jessica Jones, that's probably it until like another cameo. Like you don't want to overdo it.
You know
I guess.
what? To a little like side thought I had here, because you know, I agree with all of that, but one little side thing, that like cop that leads the task force,
Powell.
that burned the dude's hand and was the one trying to
Yep. Powell.
From an acting standpoint, those sort of roles, I want to know how much that affects your not just public opinion, but like future roles. You
Sure.
are
Like, are
playing
you
a
always going to be
character
that kind
from
of dick?
like, yeah, they hate you from scene 1. We hate you from scene 1, and every scene he's been in, it got worse and worse. Like, I hate you, I hate you, I hate you, I hate you, I hate you. And that guy, like, I don't recognize him from anything else.
Right.
But if I were to see him in something now, I'd be like, oh, that's the D-bag cop from Daredevil.
Right.
And I was just thinking, like, I wonder how much that sort of role actually affects a career like that. Or obviously, especially if you've never been in something that big, you don't say no to Marvel and you don't say no to Daredevil. Like,
Sure.
but it's like one of those things where, you know, it's like, oh, we need you to play a white supremacist in the 20s. Like, that's going to be a role that you go, I don't know if I want this.
Right.
Obviously, it's not like that to that level of extreme, but any role where they hate you from scene 1 to scene however what long you're in it. And that guy, I'm like, I think I hate you more than I hated Muse.
Yeah.
Which,
Yeah, but you like Muse. Like, I like Muse.
Which I think
Muse
is funny. So
badass.
we like Muse. Did you see
Right.
everything about Muse this past weekend before this episode?
I know people were like, why would you kill off a great character like this? And
You
someone's
wasted
like,
his potential, showed like everything he did in the comics versus what they did to him now, made him a scrawny
Muse
little boy.
has been in 12 comics.
Right. Exactly. He's not that
12.
prominent.
He's like, that's like nothing. Like that's absolutely nothing in like comic book
I think
worlds.
they
Like
did an awesome portrayal of Muse.
some runs go like 100, 200, like 200 comics.
Right.
So like him being in 12 total is
I have two
very
comics
minor.
behind me. I have an Iceman one and a Spider-Man one.
So like, yeah, him being in 12 comics total and having
That's not much.
half a season, like he wasn't the main point.
And to
Like,
take that person and make them seem like they're important enough where people are going to make them be mad about it, I think is a success. The fact that there
Yeah.
are people on the internet complaining that Muse wasn't as good as he is in the comics, just that alone, I'm like, yeah, no, a lot of people had never even heard of Muse, and now they're seeing this discourse on it. I think you did the character a justice
sure.
by
Yeah, I think
creating that.
You get that kind of same. You can look at like other iterations that we've seen before, too, like Ben Affleck's Daredevil
Yep.
compared to Charlie Cox's Daredevil. Like no one thinks twice. Elodie Young's Elektra versus Jennifer Garner's Elektra, like
Completely different.
completely different. And
Yeah.
like both of the other two Punishers versus John Bernthal, it's not. It's not.
Can't compare them
Like,
because
you
they're so
can't
different.
compare them, right? And so like Muse,
Just like this Fantastic Four
probably
coming out, everybody. Just saying,
Like,
Silver Surfer.
Muse has never been done before in live action, and you know whether he's probably newer than some of the other villains and stuff. Like, I think it's great because people were talking about him because they missed him as soon as he was gone. So
Right, exactly. They wanted more of him.
Right.
Kind of like how, what's his name is playing, one in Green Lantern, with the bowl cut.
Oh, Guy Gardner, Nathan Fillion.
Yeah, I knew it was an N. I was blank on it, but Guy Gardner.
Right.
You have a bunch of discourse, people talking about Guy Gardner, how stupid all this. How many of those people knew who Guy Gardner was before that trailer?
Yeah, exactly.
How many people knew Muse before this show?
If you were like, hey, name the first two Green Lanterns that come to your head, people are going to say Hal Jordan and John Stewart.
Yep.
So
if they don't, they're
gonna say
trying
Guy
to
Gardner.
be different.
Yeah. Yeah. And so like, and everyone's like, look how stupid this haircut looks. Look at the comic panel. Like, whereas he has a bowl cut, man. It
Yeah.
looks just like it.
Mushroom tip. It's just what he looks like. That's fine.
And it's
supposed
funny.
to be that way.
It's funny. It's comical and like,
And look at
it's comical, which is like a comic.
Bruh, and look at
Like,
all the success of all
crazy.
the shows that are leaning heavier into the comic stuff. Brighter colors, humor plus gruesomeness, like adding those back. Look how much people loved the blue and yellow Wolverine. How bright blue Wiccan's crown was and like his red cape.
even like you got the two blockbusters this year. You got Superman, you got Fantastic Four, and they're both bright and colorful.
Exactly.
And the Thing is a vibrant orange, and Johnny Storm is a vibrant orange, and their suits are from the 60s and they're
like
big
powder
and bold
blue
and light blue. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you get same with Superman. Like all those.
leaning more
all
into the
those-
comics.
Yeah.
Because
So-
keeping them, trying to take the comic away from the comic book movie or show, you're just turning it into another one of the other million shows. If I wanted to watch a good crime show, I'm not going to watch Daredevil just because it's purely a good crime show. Even though it was very good, you're watching Daredevil because it has the Daredevil aspect, that superhero-ness.
Right.
If you took away, like attacking the wrong fan base here online because they'll always come after you, but like you look at the Superman done by Zack Snyder.
Sure.
The
Gray. Everything is gray.
Everything is gray. So you're trying to tell me what's the difference between any generic action movie and that? Like if I want to watch a generic gray action movie, there are better versions than, a gray Superman. And I think leaning more into and heading even further into the comics for season 2 of Daredevil would be amazing. Obviously, Frank mocks Daredevil for his new costume, how bright it is, but they even said it in the finale.
Well, yeah, but you could get. I think that's an opportunity where where like next season you can get the black suit.
Yeah.
Like you can do the black suit
You can
because
do
like
the yellow.
yeah, you could like he's not the devil of Hell's Kitchen. Like now he's like the devil of New York, I guess. You know what I mean? So like, yeah, he's got his own little group of vigilantes or whatever. So
I'm ready for all of that. I think the show, start to finish this season, gave you true character development and really a good showing out for all the writers of this. I know they did reshoots. I know they added an extra episode.
Basically the
intro.
first and the first episode and the 8th and the 9th episodes were all directed by the same people, and there was more of an emphasis on like that comic-y action.
Sure.
For like all 3 of those episodes, and they kind of sandwiched those reshoots into like they sandwiched the old stuff with the new stuff, and it gave you this kind of collective thing that actually flowed really well. You know, there were some like low moments, but like the high moments were really, really good. So yeah, I mean, I'm excited. I hope they get you know, some of those writers back again for season 2, because
Yeah, absolutely. But don't do the same mistake Disney and Marvel tend to do, where when fans say, "Oh, we want this person back," you bring them back and give them full control over a project.
right.
Like, no,
Yeah.
we want these people back, but maybe have them write instead of 3 episodes, have them write 4 episodes, because like I
think
don't want full control.
I think the first, the 8th and the 9th, like you're starting it off and you're ending it with the same writers, and you're making them kind of formulate their story to the chunk of the story, like all the everything that's moving the story along. They kind of built the bookends of it.
Yeah,
And
it's
so I
kind
thought
of
that was really cool.
like in writing classes, they tell you that after you write the entire story, you take your last paragraph and make it your intro paragraph. And it ties everything together, but also jumps you right into what you should expect for the book
Sure.
or paper or whatever it is. You just take that last little bit just to make sure the tone matches from start to finish. And I'd think that taking those same directors, those writers from the last couple, put them in that first one where they weren't originally going to be there, helped really round out that character development from all sides, especially Daredevil and Kingpin. They showed that them mirroring they're paralleling each other the whole time.
The whole time, right?
And they almost converge and switch by the end in multiple aspects. It's
right.
really well executed. I would say if I had like one major complaint about the show was, for a show with a blind guy, I definitely did expect a little bit more from an audio standpoint. There was only a couple
scenes, right?
Scenes, which I get it. Like, you don't want to overwhelm the audience or anything like that, but I do think it would be a little bit more. It's kind of like Finding Nemo. I know it's a weird comparison, but they went through, when they made that movie, the animators and the sound engineers, everybody, when they went through, and anytime a fish moved their tail or a certain fin, they decided which type of sound would fit there and then added it in, so that when you're watching, especially if you're not making any noise, you're in a media room, you genuinely feel like you're under the ocean.
Sure.
I would love to have entire scenes in which we feel Matt, what he's hearing. Like, going from like, it felt way too much like a House episode.
Sure.
Where he'd have his epiphany and then the scene happens.
Sure.
So Matt would like hear the sound and then the scene happens. Like, no, I want him to hear the sound and walk right into that scene and lead us right through the rest of that.
So I know maybe you've seen a couple of the clips from the Batman with Robert Pattinson, but there's a scene where like it's completely dark and all you hear is like the only light is from the gun going off.
Yeah.
And you see him like you see
Fighting,
the gun bullets go off and you see him fighting in that. That would be something I'm interested in for like Matt. Like say he's like invading a compound or whatever, and he like all that it is like the cops trying to like shoot him, but he's hidden in his black suit in the darkness.
Sure.
And you hear just like the fighting, just the fighting. Just
Yeah.
like you hear the yells and the grunts and the
Or
everything.
even they showed a like from his point of view, they've shown what he envisions with his basically his sonar. You could
Right,
even
yeah.
have a short, quick scene shot entirely in that. It doesn't have to be an action scene. It can be maybe him like stealthing into a certain area.
Yeah, I think the stealthing is cool. And actually, what would be now that I'm thinking about it, we know that Bullseye is going to be a part of the story next season. Like, what if they invade somewhere together and Matt has to like wait until Bullseye clears out a hallway, and you just hear the little projectiles that Bullseye's throwing and like people dropping, and
Right.
it's all from like Matt's point of view, but it's just Bullseye just picking people off while Matt can like move forward or something. Like that'd be peak.
That reminds me of something that I wish they would have did. They didn't do it, but we talked about this when they announced Daredevil. I'm sure you will remember this, but we talked about things that we wanted to see when the show came out. And one of the things you said was, what was it like for him for the snap in terms of
The
people's
snap?
heartbeats?
Yeah.
How quiet did the world get for him? That's
Yeah.
another example. Like, obviously, that's a fantastical aspect that they clearly were trying to avoid. Is Thanos would be like too
Right, and they made references to that, and but also like Charlie Cox is going to be in Doomsday, so there's going to be a street level element to that movie, you know. So
Right.
like
Or will that be where they allow Bullseye or Daredevil to go all out hero super?
yeah,
Excuse me, hiccups. But yeah, I don't know. Start to finish, this whole season was incredible. I would say they have expendable characters now. They have a good direction on. I think it's pretty hard lock on Luke Cage or Jessica Jones. And I think we kind of nailed it with the anything that gets too fantastical, anything too superhero is going to be avoided, even if they lean a little bit more into it.
like the most mystical thing that they did was like all the hand stuff,
Right. Yep.
like reviving people from the dead and stuff like that. So
And Punisher adds his own gruesome humor. Like, it might be a little darker, but he's funny and like he makes you chuckle. So having some humor.
oh yeah, his interactions with Matt is hilarious.
Part of that
'Cause he's-
is like obviously Charlie Cox, Vincent D'Onofrio. These people are like really good actors. John Bernthal is crazy good.
oh yeah,
like-
he's insane.
We mentioned all the side characters that were surprising us with how well they were doing, how well they were portraying their character. And then you just watch and you realize like, oh wow, this is what it's like when you have two like kind of titans on there. When you have not Vincent D'Onofrio, Charlie Cox and I almost called
John
him
Bernthal?
Shane. I almost called him Shane.
Yeah.
And John Bernthal on the screen at one time. You're like, wow, this is like I'm watching a play. Like I'm watching two trained actors. It was just really good, and waxing them a little bit. But man, there was just some parts of this show that I was very happy I tuned in, especially watching it live, where you like watching it the week of, not waiting until the end to binge it all, or not waiting until everybody else has their full opinions before you decide whether or not you want to watch it. I'm glad I watched it along the week because it was something that you could just like appreciate, and I'm already surprised that it's over.
One thing I want to commend them for is they didn't sugarcoat Punisher.
No, not at all.
Like Punisher was obviously a part of like the Daredevil world for Netflix, and then he got his own stuff, and it was much more brutal. But they let Punisher be Punisher in a different series, and they didn't like sugarcoat it at all. And that's what I think Marvel is going to have a struggle with when they bring in Deadpool.
Yeah.
I think they're going to try to sugarcoat Deadpool. And granted, I know it's not like a show, like it's not a TV show, and so it's a little different on what they can do. But like, I like look how badass the short Punisher moments were, because you could let Punisher be Punisher and let John Bernthal have that brutality and those screams, and like he does the not give a fuck attitude on if like they're bad people, they need to not be here. So
Right. He
and
goes all the
even
way.
that, yeah, and even Matt was like, Frank, stop, and he's like, what? Like shoots the other.
What about
Like,
that guy?
yeah.
That's what I mean. Like, that's gruesome and dark, but you can't help but chuckle because it's like such an extreme moment. It's such an extreme
Even
feeling.
and then even when the cops are at the end and they're like, hey, like join us, you can do your Punisher stuff and like it won't be against the law or whatever. And he's like, you think you know me? Like, you think you know my loss? Like, you don't know shit. You don't know what I've lost. And that's another moment where you let him be him.
Yeah,
Like,
he is him.
yeah, he's him.
He's him.
You know?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I could honestly go on about this. I really enjoyed this show a lot. And it's so different than what we've gotten in the past. Like, I'm trying to compare, like, did I like it more than Loki or Agatha? Did I like it more than Echo? Like, obviously you have ones that you would favor, ones you choose first to watch again, but they genuinely felt so different that it's just something that stands alone on, something I enjoyed.
So one quick question for you, because I know you didn't really care for episode 1 as much,
Yeah,
but
was not a fan.
but like 8 and 9 were written by the same people. So do you see, like, does that like change your mentality of the whole show, and like you get why they did that?
Yeah, just like we were talking about with the like
8 and 9, how they did 8 and 9.
yeah, how it like ties kind of makes it full circle by taking that final paragraph, putting it at the beginning. It kind of feels more like that now, where the first one was there to help keep the story well rounded and show you where the tone is going, what the main thing, what it's all going to be about. Brings you back to Foggy in the final 2. Otherwise, they didn't really talk about it too much all the way up until that point. I do think that it brings you back and like does really good job of that. But I would still say episode 1 was my least favorite of the whole show.
Do you think they could have just switched, like, well, I mean, like, they could have just made it episode, or like move stuff around between the first 2 episodes and still have that bullseye thing in there, and then I think it still makes sense and it keeps you more intrigued?
I think you could do that, but you tell a better story by doing it the way they did it.
Right off the
I think
rip,
you appease the fan by giving them a shorter,
that bullseye
quicker
Daredevil fight.
Yeah, and everything's a little bit more like, you know, people would rather watch a 5-minute video over a 55-minute video because just attention span and stuff.
Right.
I think mixing it together like that, kind of taking out the first episode and weaving your way in throughout the other episodes, appeases that fan base, and I think a lot of people appreciate it. But I think if you truly want to have a good show and better writing, you do it the way they did it.
Sure.
You just kind of put the art first. The creation goes first. I think that's getting on my soapbox a little bit. I think that's where a lot of these other shows, whether it's Marvel, Marvel or other services, I think that's where they fall short. Is we've kind of lost the passion for the art, and we're trying to make money, and money comes first.
Sure.
I thought, speaking of which, because, you know, I want to get more of us in here. It doesn't have to be all business. I was thinking about it because I watched an interview with one of the animators from Pirates of the Caribbean.
Sure.
The second one, the one with Davy Jones.
Right, the CGI with all those tentacles and stuff.
Yeah. And the interviewer asked, why does the CGI in that movie seem like it was the best it's ever been and nobody's ever been able to replicate that quality?
Sure.
And he started talking about TLDR, if people don't want to listen to what I'm about to say. It was create a better work environment, creates happier people, creates a better product.
Sure.
That's basically all it was. But he went on to say the level of benefits that they got on that movie
From
were
Universal.
Yeah, like basically you need to have like required time off. You can't work over too many hours. If you do work overtime, we're going to reward you for it. As opposed to kind of like what we saw with like Sonic, where they were told they had to redo the whole movie, so they ended up working like 2 to 3 months straight with 0 days off and 10 to 12 hour plus days, no additional pay, and then they were let go after it was done. Like, that's why the quality isn't as good in a newer movie versus back then they treated you like a human being. It was a bunch of people that worked collaboratively together.
Yeah, now it's part of a machine kind of thing. Yeah,
right. They were all trying to create this visual product that also told you a story.
Right, and that's why like you got like Universal doing like Jurassic Park and Harry Potter and all those things. Like those
also seem like they're way better than they.
Right, and granted the older three, but like Chris Pratt stuff, like they look like dinosaurs, you know what I mean? Like they're dinosaurs. So yeah, and like Harry Potter, like that was forever ago. And like you got all these like the hippogriff and giants and trolls and stuff like that. It's pretty good for 25 years ago. So
for what it was. And now you look at something now, or like Transformers was another example they talked about in the interview.
Yeah, dude, that's crazy. Transformers are crazy. You got all those moving parts with that. That's crazy.
Yeah, they just talked about how it's the environment, it's the message told to the creators. Like, by the way, we have a large global audience, and the global audience would really appreciate the visual aspect more than the audio aspect. So really focus on it. Like, basically, just doing the right thing has gone out the window. And it's all about these old white businessmen at the top of all these different companies saying bottom line first, customer second, art third.
Sure.
And it's like, no, because if you create the art, the other two come organically.
Right.
That's why you see like A24, the movie studio.
Right.
They have just knockout after knockout hit. As soon as they have decided to say, you know what, we're going to start putting out movies faster than we've ever done before because the amount of fans we've gotten has given us the money to start producing more content. And immediately their first movie and release, once they've changed their pattern, is one of their lesser enjoyed movies.
Sure.
It's just all these different companies. I get it. Money creates more money, so they want more money because then it makes everybody happy. I would love just I think the writers of this show were able to, even if they were focusing on money first, the writers of this show, especially 1, 8, and 9 that you talked about, how they were all the same.
They brought that passion from
Punisher. They brought passion in, and that passion is probably what brings somebody like John Bernthal from quitting. He talked about how he was going to leave.
Right, and they brought those same writers from the Punisher series that John Bernthal worked with because he's like, these guys care about the characters.
They probably had better conversations. They probably enjoyed having a cup of coffee together when they got there in the morning. Like the little things.
Yeah.
From
like, listen,
this guy actually holds the door open for me when I walk into work. The other guy doesn't even say good morning.
Right. It's like, listen, I've been thinking about this. Like, I know we did this with the script, but can we try something else? I've been thinking about it all night. Like that kind of passion for the work. Like, can we just try it? Right.
Like they might have good relationships with who was there, but it's not the same.
It's like it's like Sam Raimi and like granted, like Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, like perceived really well by others, perceived not so good with others. Some people just thought it was like it made Wanda villainous, like it was just a cameo dump, whatever you want to say about Multiverse of Madness. But like when Sam Raimi came to Kevin Feige came to Sam Raimi and was like, wait, you want to have the Scarlet Witch fight this like Illuminati from another universe? And she's like, yeah, like I want her to fight like Reed Richards and Black Bolt and Professor X and stuff like that. And Kevin Feige goes, how are you going to have Wanda beat Black Bolt? Like he's just going to open his mouth and blow her away. And then Sam Raimi just went, what mouth? Yeah. And that was like Sam Raimi thought of that. Like he's like, he got his hands on another character that wasn't Spider-Man, And he was like, I'm gonna use what she can do,
Mm-hmm.
and like have that, and that's one of the more like iconic Scarlet Witch moments,
Right.
like
And taking that badass spur of the moment feeling, going like, yeah, might even have felt cheesy to other people in the room, and going like, no, that's badass.
yeah, you see his eyes go red and his brain cave in, like that's insane, like
And I saw there were, speaking of that, I don't know if you've seen, like, there are comic book fans that were like, here's why this and this and this, why that wouldn't even be realistic for Black Bolt. He's had his mouth closed in the comics before, and this is what happened. All this random crap. I think
Yeah.
what they did was awesome because it wasn't about Black Bolt.
Yeah, we all know that Black Bolt could have just whispered and like killed her. We knew that. Like we knew Blackagar Bolt again was probably the strongest one there, right? Like,
right.
I mean, outside of like Professor X, but it's I don't know. It's just one of those things where like you have her run through those people, and she's got to do it her way, and like I don't know. It showed what the Scarlet Witch can do in that movie, and like that's another writer getting their hands on another character that they're not familiar with, and still like trying their best to stay true to that character. I thought it was cool, and that's something similar to kind of what this show got, because you had the Punisher writers taking control of Kingpin and taking control of Daredevil and not Quicksilver, Bullseye,
Yeah.
stuff like that. You have them taking control of other people besides Frank Castle. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, cool.
Yeah. All of that to say, this show knocked it out of the park. Because it's an internet show and it's a content thing, we kind of have to do it. What would you give the series episode or season 1 out of 10?
Would I?
Yeah.
Ooh, man. I keep thinking I have to get this one final point in because I've been thinking about this the entire time. Kingpin's arc might be one of the greatest comic book character arcs. Like this show's Kingpin arc in the history of like character arcs.
Yeah, obviously Thanos would be my number 1.
Like I just thought actually, it was like from the start of this show to the end of this show, like it was perfect from him.
Yeah, I would agree.
Like just that was probably my favorite part of the entire thing, outside of the random like F-bombs throughout
Crazy,
the entire
dude
show.
That felt a connection to the character and a true passion for portraying that character did a good job of making that character look great.
Yeah, it's just now to all the Daredevil writers for season 2, Finn Jones has that same passion. Just saying.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, I just wanted to say that Kingpin bit. In 8, that's the first number that came to my head.
Yeah, so the first number that came to my head, I don't really like doing decimals, but the first one that came to my mind was 7.8. So I would say you round that to an 8. So I agree. I would also give it an 8.
Yeah, man, it's just something different that we haven't had before, and like from the violence to the language to the story to the street, like staying true to street level, like all of it was like something we haven't really had before. So
yeah, I would agree. And it's just, you don't have to compare it to other products out there, but if you are a fan of just multiple types, if you like anime, if you like animation, if you like crime, if you like drama, reality TV, I feel like no matter what, this is one of those shows where if you're looking for a superhero show to dip your toe into, would I like it? Especially if you're a fan of like crime shows and other things like that. It's a good show that I think a lot of people over the correct age would enjoy it.
Sure. 100%, yeah.
Which you can't always say about Marvel shows. Like, I don't think Agatha was as broad of a fan base could cover, but I think the fans that do like that were much more strongly passionate towards liking it.
Right.
But this show, I think, could cast a much wider net, which maybe that's part of their goal. But I thought it was a very, very incredibly good show.
Sure.
we went a little long on this one, but I like that because we got a little bit of tangents in, some of our own opinions, and got to see a little bit more of us. I am exhausted. I am going to go make some coffee before we play some video games with a large group of friends tonight. And yeah, I just want to thank you all for coming by. If you're still here, thank you so much for listening. We appreciate you so much. Please like, comment, subscribe, share with a friend. That would be much appreciated. And we'll see you next time. You look great today. GG.
GG.
Stop.